Hello everyone, Jeff and Derek here with A Taste for Whiskey. And again, we are excited to be partnering with Indiana Liquor Group as we go into yet another, well, actually we're just going to kind of continue our craft distillery month. And as we focus on a couple new bourbons and ryes that we're going to try today.
They've been supplying us with some really, really good stuff to try. Crafts, single barrels, you know, that's just where I'm at now with a lot of stuff. And I've heard so much good stuff about this Woodinville. I can't wait to try these. As soon as I heard we had Woodinville, I was like,
this is going to be fun. That's right. And it's kind of like the Chattanooga whiskey where everything, you know, the bourbon enthusiasts and the bloggers and the YouTubers, they're really kind of pushing these brands because of the passion that especially Woodinville has. So we're just going to dive right into it. And as Derek's going to start us out with the bourbon.
The regular bourbon?
Yeah. We'll talk a little bit about that. So what we have with Woodinville is a couple guys like Derek and I who really like whiskey, and it comes out of Washington State, and really pretty much all they get there is Crown Royal, you know? So they're like, all right, we want to get some more interesting whiskey in. And so basically they were like, let's just start our own. So who better to go to than at the time, they went to Dave Pickerel, who used to be the late Dave Pickerel, who used to actually be the master distiller at Maker's Mark, and continued to poke at him and get him to come up there and have him consult with them. And finally he agreed. And they basically said, we don't know what we're doing. You know, we just like whiskey and we want to start up a distillery. So he said, well, these are the things you need to do. And they started doing it. And as a product of that, basically two guys that are listening to the experts, listening to the pro, and saying, you tell us and we're going to do it. And that's exactly what they did. And what you have now is two what I hope to be very good products. With the first one, you've got the Woodinville Bourbon, and that is a mash bill of 72% corn. They're using 22% rye, and they got a 6% barley. And they said 5 years. They've tested this through and through. They tried it at 2, at 3, at 4, and they said that 5 years is the sweet spot for them. And the way they use, and you can read a lot of the information on the back. It talks about kind of how they dry out the wood for the staves for their barrels. And so there's a lot of care in the yeast, in the distillant, in where it's being barreled at. There's just so much compassion that they put into this, so it's got to be good.
I like when they, you know, disclose a lot of information on the bottle, because I'm just not on my phone all the time type of guy. So when it's right here in front of me and I can see the bottle, I mean, maybe I'm just like bottles too much, but you know, you see the nice thick glass, the raised lettering on the sides.
It's a nice bottle.
The wood top cork here. I mean, yeah, I mean, it is nice.
And listen, we want it to look good on our shelf, right? That helps.
They've got just a ton of information on here.
That's right. And the thing too, they also specified 90 proof. You know, one of the things they talked about was they were very, very purposeful in that 90 proof. And again, kind of following that sweet spot of the profile they're looking for. And you know, I got kind of snookered on this one time. Somebody asked me, so it says pot still. What is pot still? And that's a really good question, but really what it essentially is, it's a different way of distilling whiskey in that most whiskeys are column still, which means it's multiple distillates in one run. So, you know, as it goes through the column, it's going to continue to kind of distill out, whereas on the pot still, you've got a single distillation and you got to keep running it through. So it's just a lot more time consuming, kind of like the sweet mash, you know, a lot more love, a lot more passion to kind of go in to taste that product and make sure it is where it needs to be before you barrel it up.
Very nice. So,
well, Derek, let's go into this. It's bottled at, it's typically 5 years. And so let's see where this is. A Washington Bourbon, Woodinville. Cheers, my friend. The nose is very different than the other bourbons. You know, it's just so, I get brown sugar.
I get wood.
And some wood. Yeah.
Like a wood.
A really nice wood.
Yeah. Like a fresh cut.
Oh man.
Not like an oak, like a deep oak, but like a fresh cut, like wood.
Can some candy? Are you getting a little bit of candy there?
Well, now that you say that. Very subjective, right?
Yeah. This is nice. This has got a very sweet nose.
It does. Very approachable.
Well, let's see where this. Let's see where the flavor takes us on the palate.
It's kind of darker notes than I expected, with a light color.
Yeah, you would not think that 90 proof would have this much flavor.
Kind of like scotches come bring all that flavor at a low proof.
Yeah,
you know, usually bourbons run higher, but
on the front, it's very front palate forward, so it's got a very nice sweet note on the front. It continues on to the mid, and then on the back palate, continue to get notes of vanilla. I get a little bit of candy still, a little bit of that nice kind of cotton candy, some brown sugar. Oh, and then the nose, and then I just...
It's a dark fruit, but I don't know exactly what. I feel like I'm getting dark fruit, even chocolate note a little bit, which was absolutely not expected.
This is very full flavor. So right here on this, this is definitely, from my rating scale on this, I definitely would start this out at a 90 for sure. Just on my first sip of this.
Oh yeah.
Very, very approachable. Very full flavor, very viscous.
Not hot.
Not hot at all. Even with a 22% rye, we've got a really nice, full, sweet flavor that starts from the beginning and goes to the end. The finish is, I'd say it's about a medium finish, not a real long finish.
It doesn't taste young.
That's right.
You know, maybe you can lean that direction a little bit more, but not young isn't the first thing that comes to your mind.
That's right.
Knowing it's 5 years.
Knowing it's 5 years, that's right. So I'm a fan of this bourbon. This is very, very nice. And you know, we've had this at a couple tastings that I've talked to some folks, or I've talked to some folks about it, and they love it as well. And I feel like this is just a really, for a craft distillery that's brand new, I think established in 2010. Yep, 2010. I mean, they're just doing good things.
I hear Woodinville a lot.
Yeah,
that's why I was so excited when I heard that we had a couple bottles to review, because I've been hearing a lot about it, and I've seen it, but I haven't had it yet.
That's right. So. That's right. Well, let's go right into the rye, because they're very proud of their rye, and they are using 100% rye. So, but in order to get kind of, to help kind of generate those sugars, they're using a combination of malted rye and unmalted rye. So that kind of allows it to create its own sugars. Again, it's 5 years, and very, very same type of process. You know, they went in, they've really spent a lot of time making sure that they got this right where they want it. 5 years, 100% rye. And now I'm a rye guy too, and this is something that I'm really excited to try.
Gosh, I like these wood tops on these too.
And
you know, in the same direction.
The interesting thing is most rye have kind of a green label. These do not. So when you go in, make sure that you look at the label very closely, because the labels are very similar. So yeah, so we had the Wilderness Trail Rye, which I absolutely love. That's that bubblegum and candy notes. This is 100% rye, and absolutely, completely not even close to the Wilderness Trail. So what does that mean? Well, for me, right now on the nose, I'm getting like this really nice fruit note.
I am getting fruit, but it's like grape.
Grape. That's what I was getting ready to say. Almost like a wine.
Yeah.
Man, I
do get bubblegum a little bit.
Is it there?
Maybe, but it's not.
It's right underneath that.
Great bubblegum.
Great bubblegum.
It's a great bubblegum.
There we go. I'm with you. Oh, the nose on this is fantastic. Deep and rich is a very good word. Very good two words.
Which rise, I always think when you're at a younger age, and not that 5 years is young, but rye gets more flavor usually at that age.
Yeah, this is. Let's go in for the taste. Cheers, my friend. Man, this is.
Yeah, so I'm on board with the rye.
Wow. Yeah.
But I lean towards rye. I like that spiciness. I like that black pepper a little bit. It's more peppery than I thought after smelling it.
There's some pepper, but that grape gum is still there.
Yeah.
And it's again, this is really more of a mid palate to back palate. Again, not real spicy. There's the finish kind of stops right about here, and not a whole lot of spice. And it's just really, it's again full body, very viscous, very rich. I really like this, folks. This is a great rye. Great rye.
So again, thanks to Indiana Liquor Group, indianaliquor.com if you want to see when events and different things are coming up. Tastings that Jeff does, they're fantastic. I think there's maybe even a discount when you go to some of those. Is that right?
It just depends on what we're going to be sampling and this and that. But it's really just more about getting out there and having an opportunity to try these whiskeys that you may not get a chance to try. And we always like for you to try before you buy. And that's the key to this, because when you do, we're basically telling you that we stand behind this, and we're willing to put this out there to have you try it, because we know that you're going to really enjoy this, regardless of where your palate lies right now. I think that if you're new to this, I think that the whiskeys that we're sampling here, I think, are really good starters.
Oh, absolutely. That, and not just starters. I mean, we've been into this for a while, and I could try this any day.
Absolutely.
These are good.
Absolutely.
I lean more towards the rye for me, but
yeah, this one's a tough. These are definitely both 89, 90s, right? I think that this is just a must-have if you like whiskey, if you like rye, if you like bourbon. This is definitely one to have in your collection and and drink right away. So listen, folks, continue to follow us on social media and see what's coming up next. We've got some great things planned out for the month of May, so really looking forward. I hope to see you soon. And until then, cheers.